Welcome to Armchair Buffaloes, where we discuss all things Colorado football. Today's guest is Justin Bates, who came in with me as a freshman in 1998. Justin was an all Big 12 offensive tackle in 2002 and drafted in the seventh round by the Dallas Cowboys, where he joined current Buffs offensive line coach and All American Andre Gerard, who went on to become an All Pro for the Dallas Cowboys. Thanks for joining us today, Bates. Colorado's offensive line, behind the leadership of Jordan Seaton and coaching of Dre, has been the biggest bright spot on this CU team this year. Bates, what are your thoughts on the progression of the offensive line, and what was it like playing next to Big Dre?
Yeah, no, thanks, boys, for having me on, man. It's always great to get on and talk ball with the boys. So, it's actually a lot of fun. I mean, I remember going to a game, taking my boys to a game a couple years ago before all the transitions started happening, and I remember thinking to myself that our offensive line, I've seen Texas high school football teams with bigger linemen, and I just remember them like just not having any kind of size athleticism up front. And then you fast forward and what Prime has been able to accomplish, and now with Dre there. Seeing the size, the athleticism, and the speed is just an immediate standout. You watch guys on that front. It's incredible. I mean, they have really done a great job putting together a front five that can handle and stack up size wise.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that we look the part on the offensive line, and obviously they're showing up. Now, your son Josh is currently the starting center at SMU. He originally went to Oklahoma and then transferred. I got a couple of questions for you. What kind of interest did CU show in Josh, and what's it like going through the transfer portal process?
Yeah, it's you guys, it's the most wild thing I've ever seen. I mean, based when we got recruited, it's a totally different world. But I think if you think about Josh's experience going through recruiting, it was kind of a tale of two cities with Colorado. He was originally recruited under a different staff. And at the time,
At
I was
CU, right?
at CU, yeah, correct. So we were interested. I finally got Josh up to Colorado to do a visit, and I was excited. Show him the alma mater, show him the tradition and the pride, and what he could actually be a part of to help rebuild us. Because I really felt like they were trying to move in that direction, and it was really it was unfortunate because like when we got there, they didn't even know who he was. I mean, you're talking about a four-star kid who is a legacy dad. I mean, shoot, I think Bobby, you and I are still up on the mural in the coach's office, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
didn't even know who he was. Then they gave us his name badge, and it had the wrong high school on it. They just didn't understand the details, and on top of it, the head coach didn't even take time to meet with us, which was actually kind of wild. And so that, looking at that, just knowing that they didn't pay attention to details, I was really turned off because if a team doesn't focus on details, they're never going to win football games.
Yeah.
And so we kind of wrote them off at that point. And then fast forward after Oklahoma, and we went to the transfer portal. Phil Lodeholt was actually the offensive line coach there, and Josh had a really great relationship with him from Oklahoma, and so they were back on the radar. We had a trip scheduled, and here's the first thing I'll say about the portal. Anybody that's going to go into it, it's musical chairs. Right. The second you go into the portal, the spots are open until they're not. And if the music stops playing, and that's what happened in Colorado. We had to jam everything into 5 days. And so we had five teams we isolated as being potential landing spots, Miami, Iowa State, SMU, Colorado, Mississippi State. And what happened is halfway through the week, our trip scheduled to Colorado was on Friday, and they took a different center, and so that position's
Wow.
closed. That position was closed, and so we're just like, all right, well, yeah, that's kind of what we expect. So it wasn't any knock on them. It's just that's how it works in the transfer portal.
Wow, so we missed on you twice, and I think your experience with CU the first go around seems to be similar to the experience that Anwan had with his son Marco, and the fact is I think we're trying to start recruiting California and Colorado a little bit now, but we hadn't focused on them for the last two seasons at all, really. So I guess Dominic is out there in California doing some recruiting, and I mean I went to the Cherry Creek game the other night, and they're about 300 plus across the offensive line. I don't know why we don't rebuild that pipeline,
Yeah, I
bringing
have no
those
idea.
kids up to CU, because it
I
doesn't
have
make any sense to me.
I have no idea. I mean, obviously, Josh trained with Matt McChesney, one of our teammates, does a lot of great job, developing young linemen, offense and defense. And we have a lot of people that we're kind of keep track of in the Colorado market. And yeah, Colorado from a size perspective is not big, but the guys that are here are solid. I mean, there's guys in this state that absolutely should be on the top of their board. And yeah, and so, maybe they'll get back to that. Who knows?
Yeah, I agree with you. We've got our footprint down in the Southeastern Conference territory, so hopefully we get that turned around and start recruiting
Yeah,
Colorado and California
yeah.
a little bit more. All right, Bob, we took a break after TCU because let's be honest, we didn't have a lot of positives to talk about. And when you care as much as we do about the program, it makes it really hard to do the show. That said, it was nice to see us bounce back and pick up the win against Iowa State. This Buffs team continues to show flashes of brilliance. In addition to the O line, we do have team speed and a ton of playmakers. The four teams we lost to have 3 losses combined, and with the exception of the Houston game, we're in each of those games until the very end. So maybe we're a little better than our record shows. That said, good teams find a way to win and they find a way to win the close ones. And to me, our success rides on which number 3 decides to show up. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, Bob?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think let's go back. Iowa State was a great win. I mean, they're a quality team with a great head coach. So for them to come into Boulder and us to walk away with a victory, that was big for the Buffs. But you're right, right? We're a Jekyll and Hyde team, and I think we're Jekyll and Hyde because the guy pulling the triggers Jekyll and Hyde, right? I mean, talking to other guys around the program, right? I think it would be very hard to call plays for him just because right? He makes one throw and you're like, oh, whoa, who is this kid? And then he makes another throw and you're like, can we get rid of him? Right? I mean, it's just there's just such a lack of consistency. But I think, um, if we can find a way to let him use his feet,
Hey, that's
I don't know if he's as fast as we thought he was when he got here, right? Maybe at Liberty playing against other schools, he looked a little faster. But he's a good athlete. He can get out of the pocket, and we got to utilize that. But I mean, let's be honest. We got a big challenge on Saturday. This is not an
yeah.
easy place to go with a Kyle Whittingham coach team. I mean, they're tough. They're physical. We have a hard time. I compare them to like a Georgia Tech who we played so far, right? Big and physical. They're going to try to push us around. So, hopefully we can respond to that. But if we get a good number 3, I think we got a chance to win the rest of the games on the schedule. Honestly,
Yeah, Bobby, to your point, man. I mean, when you watch the Iowa State game, the running game was pretty efficient. It was a little slow to start, but then it started getting efficient. And really, what, in my opinion, what broke it through is when they started getting number 3 in the run game. Right when they start putting the ball in his hands and design runs, especially on the perimeter, then you get beasts like Jordan Seaton out there on space on a safety. I mean, that really opened up the middle, and I feel like maybe he got comfortable, or maybe he felt better. Maybe quarterbacks you like to get knocked around a little bit, so you so you start to calm down. But I feel like once they still got his legs in the game and some designed runs, that's really opened the offense, and I think he started making the easier throws because they were more worried about him as a run threat.
yeah, BT, I think you're right. Right, and this is not a knock on Caden, but he's a playground guy. You know what I mean? He wants to be out running around, and if we try to keep him in that phone booth, I don't think he succeeds. But to exactly what you said, once he got in the run game, got some confidence, made some easy throws, got some confidence, all of a sudden he plays at a much different level.
Yep, agreed.
Let's get to the little deeper into this Utah game. These guys are coming off a tough loss at BYU last Saturday. And the thing to me that jumps out is what I think we all agree we want to see, that we all kind of feel might give us a little bit of problems. They run 6 offensive lineman sets with a 317-pound H-back that they like to move all over the field. And that physical style of play has proven to present a challenge for us so far this season. What do you see it in this game, Bates?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, Utah's offensive line was just named, mid-season Joe Moore watch list. Obviously, they're huge up front. We play with a lot of guys from the islands. We know what kind of size and speed and nastiness they bring to the game. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough road to hoe with that kind of mass up front. Now, having said that, I think we're athletic enough. I think our coaches understand that they're going to have to get movement, twists, bring pressure, get them. Don't let them get comfortable coming downhill at you. And so, from my perspective, I would look for our defensive line to be very active, move, try and split gaps, try and move and get them off of just coming at them downhill. Because if they do, it's going to be like a tractor trailer, and it's going to be a tough day.
Bob, what are you thinking on these guys, and what are your thoughts on Devin Dampier?
Yeah, I was just going to say, right. I think to win this game, we got to force him to beat us. Load the box. Don't let them push us around. Don't let them get a momentum downhill, like Batesy said, right? Just lining up and running the ball down our throat. I think we gotta put pressure on this kid. We got to put a bunch of guys in the box, and we got to make him beat us with his arm. He's a good player. He's proven he can do it. He's a much better, on his feet, making kind of like our guy, right? I mean, he's a big dude, but he runs well and he runs hard, and I think he needs that to throw it well. So, I think we got to make life tough on the quarterback to win this game.
Yeah, because if we can do that, right, now you're going to see him, he'll turn the ball over, right? I mean, and I think the CU defense is very opportunistic. And if we can even get one or two of those and then get our ground game going, chew up clock, keep him off the field is sometimes the best defense, right?
Yeah.
And so I would love to see us get a couple of turnovers and chew up some clock and take advantage of that.
Yeah, I don't think he pulls the trigger nearly as well as the Iowa State kid or the kid that we saw from TCU. Um, Bear Bachmeyer is an anomaly. That kid's unbelievable. I don't think he's as good as Bear is either. I don't think he's as a winner like Bear is. One other note to mention is that while our defense did look a lot better in the last two games, TCU was down both starting offensive tackles, and Iowa State was also very thin on the line. My keys to victory in this game are going to be stopping the run, getting the ball back to our offense, and our defense needs to bring their lunch pail on Saturday. And lastly, like we've all said, Salter has to be on time with the football when we do decide to throw it. Anything else before we decide to sign off, guys?
I mean, the other thing that stands out to me, guys, is I don't think we've done a real good job of going on the road and it being a business trip, and we're here to win a football game, right? Because there's a ton of distractions, especially with NIL and these kids having money. There's even more distractions. So I hate the fact that this is an 8:15 kick, and there's a whole day of just, I don't know about you guys, but I hated night games. I'd rather get up and go play.
Yep.
And I don't know how well we do when we sit around all day and we're distracted. I mean, I don't know what the hell these kids are doing. I have no idea, but I just feel like it hasn't led to success. So I think that's a question mark for me going into this real late kickoff.
My closing thoughts, I'd love to see the guys come off of a bye week, have a relatively fast start, and then go into a hostile environment and win a football game. You want to take it you want CU to be the next level. You want them to be national championship contenders at some point. They have to be able to go into a Utah, a Clemson. They have to be able to go someplace that's hostile, and they have to be able to win the game, right? And Beau, I think you said it. You got to find a way to win the game late. Great teams will make plays and win games on the road when everything is against them.
Yeah, I agree with you. One thing that I want to comment on, Bob, about what you said about playing a late game. Imagine being Florida State and kicking off at Stanford at 10:30 p.m. East Coast time and having to watch all those games all day. The ACC, and I try not to bet anymore, but one thing I will say, if you want to find a trend, bet the East Coast team that's bet against the East Coast team that's kicking off at 7:30 p.m. on the West Coast. All right, guys.
NCAA is all about the athletes, fellas. Let's make sure we take care of the athletes.
Yeah, well, that's all the time we've got for you today. A big thank you to Bates for joining us. Best of luck to Josh this weekend against Wake Forest. If you enjoyed the show, give this video a like and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes. Go Buffs and go Mustangs.
That's right.
See you, boys.
See you, boys.